Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Got a great car, great team. Let's go execute. Our time. We know what we gotta do. Stay in the fight between the walls.
Time to turn the intensity up.
Fight till the end, no matter what happens. Good day to be in victory lane.
Green flag is in the air.
Driving with conviction. Side by side, hammer down.
The after-checks are quick. Count out anybody. Who wants it the most?
We are eyes on the leader now.
He is driving his guts out. Wheel to wheels, they come to the line. Victory this will be.
Nobody wants it more than you.
Next lap is going to end it.
Does he have enough? Holy cow! A dominant performance.
Gotta stay down, baby. Let's go.
Can you believe what you are seeing? Everybody's pushing as hard as they can get it. One final shot.
Gotta earn this thing right here to the end.
It is all on the table.
A total 500.
And welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another wonderful Saturday night here with the Redemption iRacing series. Things just getting ready to get underway here from Chicagoland Speedway. Just wrapping up qualifying, drivers getting ready to hit the grid. Waiting to see and find out who tonight's race winner will be. I am Oscar Jensen, and I am bringing you the action for the Redemption iRacing series here on Turn Sector Media today. We've got a lot of drivers, again, who are looking to have a early win checked off in the season. Last week's winner, last week's winner, Joseph Smith here, is going to be starting in the 4th position, looking to defend last week's win. Let's go ahead and go down our starting lineup here. On the pole, we have Xavier Rugglebruggy. Followed to his outside is Christopher Stange. Row number 2 will be Dallas Stewart and Joseph Smith. Like we just said, last week's winner, Joseph Smith, going to be starting in row number 2 this week. Row number 3 will be Landon Burbage and Wyatt McKilson. Row number 4 will be Jordan Hand and William Connolly. Heading back to row number 5 will be Kenneth Lowry and Michael Badra. Row number 6 will be Ryan Haller and John Crosby. Row number 7 will have Joshua Nunez and John Tiller. Row number 8 will be Evan Stewart and Dylan Carrier. And then rounding out the field will be Vincent Provanonza. Race analysis for tonight. 150 laps, 229 miles. Stage 1 going to be 75 laps. The final stage will then also consist of 75 laps. So an even split right down the middle. And then our pit road speed, 50 miles an hour. 5 total sets of tires that these drivers will have. 4, I believe, behind pit road wall. Then our estimated fuel window is about 35 to 45 or 40 laps. Our race weather, 67 degrees out. 12 miles an hour to the southeast for the wind. So pretty windy here. Then mostly cloudy, but you won't really be able to tell because it is a nighttime race and the track temp pretty cool at 68 degrees. So these drivers going to have some decent grip out in tonight's race, and getting ready to set the field off and away will be Xavier Rugglebruggy. Green flag in the air. We're racing at Chicagoland Speedway. Joseph Smith already challenging for the race lead. Christopher Stange side by side at the line. Xavier falling back to that 3rd position currently, as he's going to have Landon Burbage behind him in that 4th position. Then a little further back, these guys just trying to get it sorted out. Some of these other guys may be taking a little bit easier in the back, but up front, Christopher Stange taking no time to take that race lead away, but he's got pressure from behind. That's Joseph Smith, once again, last week's winner, looking to the inside at the start-finish line. They're going to be dead even into turns 1 and 2. It's going to be a drag race right now, though that 29 looking strong on the outside, and he'll be able to defend off Joseph Smith for the time being. A little further back, the 73 of John Crosby getting some pressure from Dylan Carrier in the 88, and then Kenneth Lowry there in the 35. Kenneth winning Daytona a few races ago. Also one of those drivers who already has that race win under their belt, but looking to try and have a good night. He had a pretty decent night last week. Riding aboard with Xavier Rugglebruggy in 3rd position as he's trying to close the gap down on his teammate Joseph Smith. Those two in identical paint schemes, a little bit different number, but I'm sure it's going to be a little difficult for those spotters above to try and identify those two drivers apart. You see it sometimes in real life. Some drivers run pretty similar paint schemes, and the last thing you want to do is accidentally be clearing a car that is the wrong car. And I've had troubles with that as spotting. Sometimes you get mixed up. You see similar colored cars, and you just don't realize it until your driver comes out the radio and says, "That's not me that you're looking at." So sometimes it can be difficult from above when you're spotting, but I'm sure those two drivers up front will be able to manage it and manage both the races, as now Joseph Smith taking a look again to the inside of Christopher Stange as they go down the front straightaway. Hasn't been able to complete the pass quite yet. He's been able to get to the inside a few times, but hasn't been able to carry that momentum to get fully around him. You see him using that bottom lane, the 29 of Christopher, using a little bit higher lane, trying to carry momentum, and that's going to be something that these drivers are going to have to watch out for in this race tonight. You definitely will be able to use that middle lane and or high side to make a pass, but you want to be careful that you're not burning up your tires. As you see, 3 wide here, Landon Burbage in the middle, able to hang on for the time being to that 5th spot, but he's got the 38 of Dallas Stewart to his outside. Maybe a little bit of contact with that outside wall, and that's going to hurt the 38 just a bit and give Landon the advantage as they head into turns 3 and 4. Now further back, the 88 of Dylan Carrier trying to make some moves here. Almost took a look to the inside of Jordan Hand, thought better of it, didn't want to be too aggressive too early on in this race and cause an incident, but trying to build a momentum down this straightaway, as now he's going to be able to get to the outside of Jordan Hand and maybe complete the pass, but he's got the 20 of William Connolly right in front of him, so doesn't have really anywhere to go unless he pushes the 20, and actually able to clear the 48 off the exit there. So move Carrier up another position, up to 6th here for the time being. We'll see if he can get around the 20 car in front of him, as they are side by side once again for the race lead for just a moment. Christopher just still not able to get that momentum that he needs to get around the 29 for the race lead, but he's got his teammate behind him. Oh, and a little bit of a hit right there for Xavier. You got to be careful with those hits. These cars definitely can be altered with their aerodynamics if you hit them too hard and receive a decent amount of damage. Doesn't look like there's too much on that 5 machine right now, but definitely not something that you're going to want to keep having happen. Looking back from Joseph Smith here. Now able to get a good run to the inside, but that 29 is going to try and side draft, but he's got no help behind him, as Xavier's going to try and give aero push to the 31, and now Joseph Smith able to clear in front of Christopher as they headed into turn 1 and 2 right there. Big momentum from the 31. Christopher not able to get a run and take a look to his inside or outside, so he's going to have to settle for second, but he's got Xavier behind him, who's all over his back bumper. And just behind these drivers, there's a lot of cars that are fighting for this 5th to about 8th position. These guys all over each other, just trying to figure out who has the advantage over one another. Dylan Carrier right now has that 5th position, but he has to fight off Jordan Hand behind him, as well as William Connolly. Now the top four have kind of separated themselves from the rest of the pack. Right now, Joseph Smith and Xavier Regelbrugge up at the front. Then Christopher Stage getting shuffled back to the third place. Landon Burbage right there in fourth, following in that bright orange machine. And he's been pretty quick these past couple of weeks. Last week at Texas, he was right up in about the same spot, looking to have another good run at tonight's race. A little bit further back, you have to go back to Dylan Carrier and Jordan Hand, who have pretty much been together from the start of the green flag here and trying to close down that gap in front of them on those top four cars. And then Wyatt right there back behind him in this 51 machine, trying to stay in tow as well. So you got a pack of four cars, a pack of three cars who have kind of separated themselves from the pack back here. Some of these guys in this further back pack maybe trying to save a little bit more tire. And we kind of saw some drivers last week at Texas. It was a really difficult track to try and manage your tires at. It was the old Legacy Texas Motor Speedway, which really kind of gave these drivers a handful with handling, but also trying to keep that right front and right rear on the car. So a little bit different circumstances tonight with this being a night race, and I think drivers maybe being a little bit cautious, but also knowing that they might have a little bit more grip, as right now we got a battle for second up at the front. Christopher able to take a look to the inside. Xavier trying to hold on to second place. This 29 has really been running that middle lane all race. We haven't seen him work that middle lane like these top two, or that bottom lane like these top two have. And you wonder if maybe that's gonna play into a factor here as these longer runs tend to build. And I'm not quite sure what exactly it's gonna do to the tires. I haven't raced this car under these conditions in a while, so I can't be exactly positive, but what I will say is I do expect these drivers to maybe try and move up the track, but maybe not too early in this run. Like I've been saying, you don't want to use up those right sides too much. You want to be able to have enough grip to later in this race. You can use that middle lane to hold off a driver on the inside, but also not overdrive the car too much. And you see right here, the 29 able to get a good run through turns 3 and 4. Oh, maybe a little bit of contact right there. And Landon Burbage right there behind him says he wants a piece of this as those two get together off of turn number 2. Beating and banging once again, trading some paint. Landon Burbage just waiting and sideways for the 29 right there in entry as more contact is made. Now the two car Landon Burbage trying to take a look to the outside, but the 29 is going to shut the door. Now Landon has to go back to work on this inside lane and try and build up another run on the 29. And I'm not sure if Chris might not be too happy with the contact with Xavier. Those two were leaning on each other pretty hard, but it is just racing after all. Now Landon getting his shot to look into the inside of the 29. washing up, maybe getting a little tight there, and he's going to lead on the 29 as well off of turn 2. Down the back straightaway, though, the 29 going to carry the momentum. And this is just going to open the door for Dylan Carrier behind them. Able to sort it out for the moment. Joseph Smith with the race leading. He's put a little bit of a gap between him and Xavier behind. About 7/10 for the time being. We'll see what Joseph Smith can do. And again, trying to defend after the win from last week at Texas. We'll see if he can go back-to-back tonight. We're going to go ahead and take our first side-by-side break. You guys won't miss a thing, as it'll be right there on your screens.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Got a great car, great team. Let's go execute. Start time. We know what we got to do. Stay in the fight between the walls.
Time to turn the intensity up.
We'll fight till the end, no matter what happens. Good day to be in victory lane.
Green flag is in the air.
Driving with conviction. Side by side, hammer down.
The interjection will count out anybody who wants it the most.
We are eyes on the leader now.
He is driving his guts out. Wheel to wheels, they come to the line. What a victory this will be.
Nobody wants it more than you.
Next flag is going to end it.
Does he have enough? A dominant performance.
You gotta say no, baby. Let's go.
Can you believe what you are seeing? Everybody's pushing as hard as they can get it. One final shot.
Gotta earn this thing right here to the end.
It is all on the table.
A total 500.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Redemption iRacing Series. Racing this week from Chicagoland Speedway, 34 laps in. Things heating up back in the pack for about 9th to 10th position. You've got these drivers in this group right here who are racing pretty hard while we were under commercial break. Saw a little bit of 3 wide action, and then also up at the front, we have some battling as well. So a lot of these guys maintaining a position, but also under fire early on, as you see John Crosby getting pressured from Evan Stewart for this 9th position. And I apologize for the pylon being a little funky right now. Not quite sure what's going on with that, but I'll make sure that we at least can get everybody in check and keep them up to date here so we're not missing out on anybody. As you see the 19 of Ryan Holler working the top side, and one of the first cars to go up on this top side that we've seen so far here tonight. And I'd say it's probably around that time that we would see some of these drivers try and work a little bit higher. Now that we've had 37 laps on this track under green, and the 19 being one of the first drivers to do so right now, try to hang on over Evan Stewart behind him. And then right there as well, we had some drivers come down pit road as the pit road window is open. We said about 35 to 40 laps, and right now it seems to be like just that is happening. So more drivers, looks like the 19 and the 47 also going to work their way down pit road, as well as Dylan Carrier in front. Jordan Hand as well. So that's going to give the race lead to John Tiller for the time being. A lot of these drivers definitely at their pit window, and I think the 27 will definitely have to come down pit road here, at least in the next lap or two. And it looks like that's going to be the case. So John Tiller going to work his way down pit road, which is going to cycle, I believe, the 20 of William Connolly to the race lead here in a second. William pitting earlier on before the pit window opened. He's got 14 laps on his Goodyear Eagles, and then directly behind him, Joseph Smith leading the way on those guys who just came down pit road. You see him right there behind him in screen. So William gonna have the lead for right now, but Joseph Smith on those fresher tires will definitely be able to catch the 20 car here in about probably 4 or 5 laps, I'd say. Joseph Smith able to close down that gap some more there through turns 1 and 2. Now going to work that outside lane, but the 20 is going to go and try and defend, and that's going to force Joseph Smith to the inside. But Joseph Smith, with those tire advantage, is going to be able to clear and now move Joseph Smith back to the top spot. William Connolly has a little bit until Xavier back behind catches him, but it's going to probably be a similar situation where Xavier can just make a pretty quick pass, not really having a lot to have to deal with because of that 20 car being on those older tires. Jordan Hand taking a look to the inside here of this lap, or sorry, not lap, of John Crosby in that 73. Those two are going to be side by side at the start finish line, and Jordan Hand, we'll see what he can do as he enters turn one. Is he going to send it in deep? He's going to be able to send it in a bit deeper and should be able to clear up in front of the 73. So Jordan Hand moving himself into this 5th position. Crosby now going to have a rear view mirror full of Dylan Carrier behind him. Carrier now trying to take a look down to the inside. He's going to be able to have some momentum as they come off of turn 2, and he's going to not be able to really side draft too much because he's just barely right to the inside now, breaking even. See if he decides to slide up in front of the 73. Yes, he will. So Dylan Carrier up another spot here. Crosby going back one more spot, and then the 51 also wants a piece of that, and the 20 right there of William Connolly, who we saw a few laps ago getting passed by Joseph Smith and Xavier Regelbrugge, where, that's just part of the tire difference out there right now, is that 20 was able to lead the lap, a few laps, be able to maybe get those extra points that he may need, but also having to pay the consequence now that it's kind of turning against him since he's been out here for about 22, going on 23 laps now. So that pit strategy out of this 20 helping him lead a couple laps, but unfortunately not going to work out for right now. And I don't know if I would say his night is over, but you definitely, I always like when drivers try something out, something different, try and get off sequence, but I'd say that might be a little too early to come down pit road with about 14 lap difference between him and the rest of the guys in front of him. There's parts of it which can work. If you do get a caution, it can definitely benefit you, but also if you don't see a caution, then you're really playing catch up for a lot of the night. And right now, William Connolly gonna have to be playing a bit of catch up, as now he's got Ryan behind him trying to work around him. Ryan trying to move himself up another position into that 8th spot on the inside in this bright yellow Menards paint scheme. And again, should have no issue being able to clear the 20 car. So Ryan going to be able to move himself up to the 8th position. Joseph Smith currently leading the way still. Xavier right behind him. Those two have a gap between themselves of just over a second. And then you have to go back behind Xavier a bit more to see Jordan Hand. And I think I hear Xavier and Joseph Smith possibly shutting it off and coasting a bit, trying to save a little bit of fuel. Let's ride on board with him here and see what exactly. Yeah, you can hear it. Those two, at least Xavier, definitely coasting here as he heads into turn 1 and 2. We'll see what he does in turn 3. Same thing here, so shutting it off, coasting, trying to save a bit of fuel. wanting to get to the lap 75 mark without having to come down pit road, because at that lap 75 we will see that stage. We won't get a stage caution, but you will get those stage points, so you want to be able to save as much fuel as you can to make it to that 75 distance mark, but you also don't want to push too hard and run out of fuel, because these points can matter so much as this season goes on, as these drivers start to build points up and trying to figure out how this championship is going to play out. Every point can be the difference from one race to another, to the next, to another. I mean, you really got to be aggressive on trying to get some points in this format. And right now, a driver who really isn't saving as much, I don't think, is the 48 of Jordan Hand. He's definitely been pushing a little bit harder than these guys around him. Let's see if he also is coasting it a bit into turn 1. So did it that time, and I couldn't tell if he did it into turns 3 and 4. Doesn't sound like he is saving like the top two were doing just a few moments ago, which, depending on how he decides to play it, it could work out. He did pit one lap earlier than those top, or one lap later, excuse me, than these top two in front of him, so it could be just that one extra lap difference, but he could also just have some numbers in mind that he needs to be hitting and accomplishing, which I always really hated doing as a driver, and even as a crew chief and spotter, it's always so difficult to try and crunch the numbers down to the exact lap and exact gallon that you need to hit. So we'll have to see if Jordan Hand can make it work out as the 51 and 2 going side by side for this 5th position. Landon Burbage with that momentum on that middle lane, able to clear the 51 now again. Wyatt still having a nose to his inside, so Landon has to give him a lane, and now they're going to be side by side once again down this front straightaway. The 73 of John Crosby right behind him. He's going to go with Burbage and maybe try and help Burbage to get around this 51. Wyatt now going to have to face the 73 as Burbage is clear of both those two behind him. Unfortunately for Wyatt, looks like he lost 2 positions right there. Wyatt still in the hunt, still trying to get at least one of those spots back as he takes a look to the inside. Not able to get to that 73's left rear quarter panel, but he's going to try and build another run up here. The 73 now diving it in deep. He's going to be side by side with Landon Burbage off of turn 4. Will the momentum go to the 73 or the 2? It looks like right now it's going to go to the 73, but Landon Burbage again, he's going to have that middle lane advantage. We'll see if the 73 can clear though, and yes he will. So Landon Burbage gonna try and go for a crossover, as the 73 might have had to lift just a bit there, and they're gonna be drag racing down the back straightaway. Burbage running that middle lane, trying to force that 73 up the track just a bit. Still trying to complete this pass after making the move to do a crossover, and they're going to remain side by side, and this time it looks like Wyatt's going to go with the 73 car. Crosby trying to force that 2 into mistake, and it looks like Wyatt's going to be able to get the run, and now Burbage, a late move right there. To Wyatt to clear in front of the 2 car, Landon Burbage, but he's going to make it work but he's also going to get the 73, so he's going to get a 2-for-1 right there. What an impressive move out of Wyatt right there. He was just barely able to cut in front of Landon Burbage to get that inside lane, and then be able to hang on to it was pretty impressive on that bottom side, and be able to move up and clear the 73 in the same corner was a power move by this 51 machine. We're going to go back and take a look and see how the 51 was able to build that momentum up here, because what a power move of this 51. What he was able to do to see Wyatt get that high side run, and Landon gave him just enough room to where Wyatt could just slip right in front of Landon and able to stick it on that bottom lane as well. And then just clear the 73 car of John Crosby as well, and able to get 2 positions in 1 set of corners. Now Burbage is going to be back to that 7th position, but he's going to try and get back to John Crosby in front of him, as Jordan Hand kind of has remained even with this gap from him to Xavier in front. Remember, Xavier and Joseph, the top 2 positions here, were coasting a bit there, trying to save fuel to make it to the 75s mark for the stage. And Jordan, we didn't think was saving as aggressively, so Jordan might be close on field, but again, he did pit 1 lap later, which could be the difference maker. You never really know. We'll have to see if Jordan decides to maybe try and save a little bit more, but right now it looks like he doesn't really necessarily need to save, which can be good for him. And depending on how Xavier was doing for that fuel saving, he might have to push a little bit harder just to keep Jordan behind him, which could in return burn more fuel. So if I'm Xavier, definitely probably want to still keep that fuel in mind, but don't necessarily need to be panicking too much, as Jordan behind could possibly be in the same boat as well. But if you're Joseph Smith up at the front of the field, you've got about a 2.5 second lead over the rest of these guys, and trying to leave off where you left off last week at Texas Motor Speedway with the win. Another one of these 1.5-mile tracks, so it's looking to be pretty decent for Joseph Smith so far here tonight. Is it 3 wide for a second right there? That's the 20 car of William Connolly. He came down pit road, so he is 1 lap down currently. Remember, he's kind of on this off sequence of strategies compared to the rest of the field. And it's so difficult when you have a lap car in your pack. I mean, you see what it did to this group of 3 cars who have pretty much been with each other this whole run. It forced Wyatt to kind of have to lift and give up those positions that he actually gained on Landon and John. So Wyatt losing those 2 positions after he made such a aggressive move to get these 2 positions away, and right now trying to work on Landon Burbage once again, but Landon doing a great job at able to defend off this 51 machine. And we do have 17 cars in the field here right now, 16 being scored on track. So there is a possibility that these drivers might have to deal with lap traffic depending on how far this thing decides to go green, but that if we do get lap traffic, it'll be interesting to see how these drivers are able to navigate their way through this lap traffic. There's a lot of lanes on this racetrack to work with, and depending on if you're side by side with somebody, that lap traffic might be able to help you out. It might also hurt you a bit, so it's going to be something to watch out for with this track tonight. And so far going green the whole way. We'll see if these drivers can keep it green the whole way through. Jordan Hand able to get to the inside of Xavier and pull that move to make the pass off. Xavier now going to fall back to third, and again, we're still wondering what Jordan Hand's field situation looks like, as he is right there with these top 2 drivers. There was top 2, I think Xavier and Joseph, who were coasting a bit to try and save a bit of fuel there in this early portion of the run after those green flag pit stops. So Jordan Hand maybe knowing that he has enough, hitting the burners just a little bit more, trying to force Xavier to run a little bit harder. And that's going to open the door for Jordan Hand to maybe come out of this first stage with second place points. Xavier, though, trying to work the high side, trying to get another run built up, not quite able to make it work in turns 3 and 4 right there, trying to cut the apron here on the front straightaway to close that gap down, as this is going to be one more lap, the final lap here in this first stage. Joseph Smith should easily be able to take this stage win home. We'll have to see what the battle for second looks like. Is Xavier going to dive it down into Jordan Hand? Jordan Hand trying to fight back on the outside. Xavier might have the edge. It's going to be a battle at the line, and Jordan Hand just barely able to nudge out Xavier right there at the line. Now Jordan Hand going to be able to get the race lead as Xavier and Joseph came down pit road right there. And kind of what we expected right after this first stage. Once these guys get that stage completed, they probably need to hit pit road because it was going to be a very tight window. And you see that one lap different advantage for Jordan Hand, able to stay out, lead a lap, right, or at least a couple of laps right there. And Jordan Hand now having to come down pit road. So Jordan Hand playing that first stage strategy out, able to get that little bit of an advantage over Xavier right there. Now John Taylor going to be given the race lead for the time being. And with the green flag racing that we've had so far, I mean, the last thing you want to do is make a mistake coming on the pit road, which this track isn't necessarily the most difficult track to get on the pit road, but you can still speed 50 miles an hour is our pit road speed limit. So coming from about 180-ish, maybe a little bit over, down to 50 miles an hour can be a difficult task, especially at a track like this where as you head into turns 3 and 4, it's really bumpy on this bottom lane, and it can be difficult to get on pit road. If you hit those bumps at a bad place, it'll shoot your car kind of sideways or maybe push it up the track, get a little bit tight. So you definitely got to be careful on this pit road entry, or at least the transition from the track to the apron to make it on the pit road. As you see now, Joseph Smith going to work his way around William Connolly, who is, again, on a little bit different strategy, able to lead those couple of laps. But Joseph Smith going to take back the race lead. And now John Crosby going to be challenging Xavier for what will be the second position once they get around William Connolly, who is just up the road in front of them, about a second, just over a second in front of them. Jordan Hand shuffled back to 5th, but again, able to pit a little bit later than these guys in front of him, which is going to give him a little bit more of a tire advantage here. Not going to be enough to maybe go up there and close the gap down on Joseph Smith, but definitely will be enough to be able to hang in tow with Xavier and John Crosby. We'll see what Jordan Hand can do, who's looking really strong there at the end of that pit sequence right there. And just as we were talking about, the 20 of William Connolly just doesn't have the tire to go up and really defend off these guys going around him right now. So now Crosby going to be in 3rd place. Jordan Hand going to be up to 4th. Jordan Hand looking strong on that inside once again. We'll see what he can do here as they head into turns 3 and 4. He's going to be able to slide in front of the 73, and I think John Crosby kind of realized that Jordan Hand might be a little bit quicker. Didn't really put too much of a fight up. So now Jordan Hand going to try and go to work on Xavier in front of him, who looked to be pretty much even on speed up until the last about 5 laps before these drivers came down pit road. So Xavier going to have to try and hold off Jordan Hand, who has looked really strong out here tonight. Still going to have a bit of a distance to close in front of them to get to Joseph Smith, who is now just over 2 seconds in front. So Joseph Smith continuing to really just kind of be in his own zip code right in front of them, not having a lot to worry about as these two behind him racing kind of aggressive here. Xavier putting a little bit of an aero block on Jordan Hand right there. Now John Crosby taking a look to the inside, trying to take that 3rd spot back away from Jordan Hand, and that's going to allow Xavier to maybe put a little bit of a distance between him and those two behind him as they're side by side. But now, just as I said that, Jordan Hand able to clear the 73 once again. So Jordan Hand continuing to really just put the 73 in the rear view mirror for the time being. He's going to have some work to do to try and get around Xavier, who has been so quick so far here tonight. Been able to put this 2nd position pretty much on lock majority of the night, but I think Jordan Hand wants it, and I think Jordan Hand definitely does have the speed for it. Take a look at Xavier Rugglebruggy here. Sacramento, California, hometown. Right now, looking good. Fastest lap at 30.669. 179.428 miles an hour. That's his fastest lap of the night so far, and looking to try and hold off Jordan Hand, who might have lost a little bit of momentum these past couple laps. These two now having about a car length gap between them two. Field mostly spread out for the time being, though. Not really a whole lot of pressure besides for this second place position. The rest of these guys kind of spread out between about a second to maybe a little bit more. So really just putting themselves in their own positions and trying to come out with a decent points tonight for each one of these individual drivers. Now, a caution will definitely change that. If you see a caution, I'm sure the aggression level will definitely pick up. But at a track like this, when you get spread out, it's really hard to kind of say that there will be a caution. There's always a chance, but at a track like this, which is really wide, and at our current conditions at night, where it's a little bit more gripped up, I'd say the chances are a little bit lower, but you never know. Still a whole lot of racing left to go here at lap 91 out of 150. Justice Smith continuing to lead the way. We're going to go ahead and take another commercial break here, but you guys will not miss a thing, as we'll be side by side. Once again, this is the Redemption iRacing Series live from Chicagoland Speedway.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Got a great car, great team. Let's go execute. Our time. We know what we gotta do. Stay in the fight between the walls.
Time to turn the intensity up.
Fight to the end, no matter what happens. Good day to be in victory lane.
Green flag is in the air.
Driving with conviction. Side by side, hammer down.
The afterchecks are lit. Count out anybody who wants it the most.
We are eyes on the leader now.
He is driving his guts out. Wheel to wheels, they come to the line. What a victory this will be.
Nobody wants it more than you.
Next flag has been ended.
Does he have enough? Holy cow! A dominant performance.
You gotta say no, baby. Let's go.
Can you believe what you are seeing? Everybody's pushing as hard as they can in one final shot.
Gotta earn this thing right here to the end.
It is all on the table.
A total 500.
Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Redemption iRacing Series, racing from Chicagoland Speedway. Second place battle still kind of heated up here as Jordan Hand trying to take another look to the inside of Xavier. Xavier, though, able to defend off Jordan Hand these past couple of laps. And actually, Jordan Hand almost able to get side by side with Xavier a few times, but Xavier just carrying up momentum. We'll see if Jordan Hand can make another move here, but Xavier continuing to look strong in this second position. Joseph Smith still up front for the time being. We're going to go ahead and take a look. Next week, we are live from Rockingham. Same place, same time on Turn Sector Media. It's going to be a very difficult track for some of these drivers to tame. Very bumpy, very rough, very old conditions. So some of these drivers might have to have some practice this week to look forward to having maybe a decent night next week at Rockingham. But right now at Chicagoland, I mean, Joseph Smith, you can't really just say enough about him right now. He's still got about a 2-second lead, really been able to maintain this gap all night so far. Looking to go back-to-back from the win last week at Texas Motor Speedway. And we kind of hear him coasting slash cutting the ignition off here on entry a little bit again, just trying to save as much fuel as possible. Every little bit of fuel that you can save really does come into a matter of importance, especially at tracks like this where it comes down to being so close on these fuel windows. So with a big lead like Joseph Smith has right now, he definitely has the luxury to do so. Xavier back here in second place, not really having that luxury as he's got Jordan Hand right on his back bumper. John Crosby right back there as well. So he's got two drivers behind him who are definitely wanting this second position, and Xavier not really having the chance like he did there after that, or during that first green flag run, to be able to try and save some fuel. So we'll see if Xavier can continue to push at this rate, or if maybe he needs to drop back and try and save a bit of fuel. Right now, though, did a great job right there of holding off Jordan Hand, who looked like he might have been able to build a run. Getting stalled out by some lap traffic right now, though. And we kind of talked about lap traffic maybe playing a factor, and you see it right now. This 3 car, 2 laps down, definitely not allowing Jordan Hand to use the track that he may need or want, and that's kind of definitely been slowing him up these past couple laps and allowing John to actually have a shot at taking a look to the inside or the outside, depending on where he wants to look. And all that has really done is helped Xavier right in front of them to pull out to about 5 car length of gap. So Jordan Hand might be a little bit frustrated with this lap car. But again, these drivers all racing for something out on track. So just because they are a lap down doesn't necessarily mean they have to pull over and give you the whole track. Kind of really just, you know, it's unfortunate, but it is a part of racing. And right now, Jordan Hand handling this pretty well. Actually able to get to the outside of Vincent right now down this back straightaway. We'll see if he can clear him. Able to clear Vincent in the 3, trying to get to the inside of Xavier. Just not quite enough momentum being built right there, and Xavier holding strong on that outside. Going to have to force Jordan Hand to try and build up another run yet once again, but John Crosby right behind them. Just waiting in the presence, just really waiting to pounce. And with all this going on, it's really just allowed Joseph Smith to pull away. Now 3.5 second gap between him and second place of Xavier Rugglebruggy. So Joseph Smith, I mean, just continuing to put the power down. And this, I believe, is the biggest lead that we've seen all night out here, out on track. So this 31 car definitely bringing the speed here tonight. These guys behind them will need to sort it out if they want to catch this 31 who has continued to pull away. Jordan now able to get to the inside of Xavier once again, and it looks like he's going to be able to clear Xavier off of 2, but Xavier trying to do the crossover down the back straightaway. He's going to be to the inside. They're going to be side by side as they head into turns 3 and 4. Xavier trying to set it in deep, but Jordan with the high side advantage. He's trying to side draft down the front straightaway. Jordan moves up, not having any of it. Crosby right there as well, right behind him, just trying to go with whichever one seems reasonable and maybe even make it 3 wide as Jordan continuing to try and pinch Xavier's. A little bit of contact right there forces Jordan up the track, and that's going to open the door for the 73. They're going to be 3 wide down the front straightaway. Xavier, the sandwich man, in the middle. Tight racing here into turns 1 and 2. Hand on the high side, Xavier in the middle, Crosby on the bottom. Give that advantage to Jordan. Now Crosby trying to get to the inside of Xavier. Xavier trying to defend this 3rd spot after losing that 2nd spot to Jordan. The 3 car right there. Lap down car, not wanting to get too involved in the battle going on in front of him. You can see Xavier running way up against the outside wall, trying to gain a little bit of momentum and speed to go down this front straightaway, maybe gain enough to take a look to the inside of Jordan, but Jordan doing a great job right now at the middle lane, not really allowing Xavier to build a run, kind of taking that clean air away from him best that he can. You see Xavier right there trying to get some clean air, but Jordan right to the defense. And now Xavier going to work his way down pit road, so that's going to give the race lead again to Jordan. We've seen be able to stay out that extra lap or 2 compared to Xavier and Joseph Smith. And you can't make any adjustments under this pit road pit stop. It is a fixed setup. You do have the luxury of able to put in the desired amount of fuel, which can kind of change the way that these cars handle. But with how this race is playing out, you're going to need a full tank of fuel, and that really just narrows it down to being able to change the brake bias in the race car, which can help a bit, but personally I didn't really find it to be that helpful. It helped me enough to where I could use it every once in a while, but overall, I mean, at a certain point, it's just you can't really change much on the race car, and you kind of just got to play the car out by how it's feeling out there on track, and got to drive the car and the track. Can't really force it to do anything else other than that. But Jordan Hand, I mean, I think with all the extra laps that he's been able to stay out, should come down here. Yes, he will. So Jordan Hand able to stay out at least 2 laps longer than the top 2 right there, which could be beneficial. They will probably have to pit another time here under green, although it will be very close. Now Jordan Hand going to have a nice clean pit stop. The last thing you want to do is overshoot your pit box and have to back up, but it looks like he's going to do a great job at being able to stop in his stall, stop on the mark, and should be able to get a nice clean quick pit stop in now. He's going to be off and away here, so Jordan Hand with a nice pit stop. Again, he's going to have to make up a little bit of time here, as he's going to lose a bit of time from staying out those extra couple of laps, but he is going to be a little bit better on fuel. And I think, I'm trying to do some mental math here, I think they might be good on fuel after this pit stop. Our estimated window is about 35 to 40 laps. We've seen guys pit around the 36 to 38 lap mark. So with about 32, 33 laps to go when these guys pitted, they should be good on fuel. Although if those numbers are going based off of these guys saving that extra lap or two, it could be very close for some of these drivers. So the race might not be over yet. We'll see how these guys decide to play their cards here in these last about 30 laps. Xavier Regelbrugge right here in 3rd position, riding on board with him once again. Rode on board with him a little bit earlier at the start of this race. We'll see what he's doing now that it's pretty much going to be here until the end, all the way out. No saving necessarily needing to be done. John Crosby did get around him there, so he's going to have to go to work to try and get around that 73 in front of him. And Joseph Smith, after that green flag cycle of pit stops, able to put more of a gap between him and 2nd place. So Smith having an outstanding night so far here tonight at Chicagoland Speedway, able to continue to grow that gap either under these green flag conditions or just gaining it on and off the pit road. So the 31 team having a strong showing tonight. And we saw Jordan Hand come down pit road, actually be one of the last cars to come down pit road. Right now being scored in this 5th position, about 8.5 seconds back to the race leader of Joseph Smith. He's got about 4 lap fresher tires than the guys in front of him, which can be a big difference here. the later this run decides to go on, if it does go green the whole way on through. And Jordan Hand, with the speed that he's had, he will more than likely be able to catch Dylan Carrier, Xavier, Ruggle-Bruggy, and also John Crosby in front of him. But it's going to depend on how hard Hand decides to push it here, because we did see Hand go a little bit easy once we got the laps on these fresh tires, or the fresh tires on this race car, and then he started to kind of push it about 10-15 laps in. And you know, with these guys having 25 laps to go, there's really no saving at this point. So Jordan Hand might have to push it a little bit harder these first couple of laps with these fresher tires if he wants to catch these guys in front of him, who are more than likely not doing any saving at this point. Field mostly spread out here with 23 laps to go. A lot of these drivers know that these laps are winding down and are definitely trying to push their cars a little bit more, trying to gain everything and anything out of these race cars. We'll probably see them move up a little bit higher earlier on, rather than waiting until the last portion of this cycle. And that's usually when the aggression level starts to come out, is when you see these guys close down on one another and all trying to fight for either the same spot on track or just trying to get around one another with these laps winding down. And that can also open the door for cautions to happen. We see it in races on this channel a lot. When these races wind down, the aggression level picks up, and sometimes you'll see a caution, sometimes you won't. I'm not saying there will be a caution, but there is always a possibility with 21 laps to go. You never know what will happen, as the 73 has a bit of a moment right there off of turn 2. That's Crosby getting the outside wall. And that really hurt him. That allowed Xavier to close down a little bit more onto that back bumper of the 73 machine. The 73 of John Crosby, though, I still think is a little bit faster right now over Xavier. Ruggle-Bruggy behind him. Xavier really has had the early run speed, but right now it looks like the 73 has that early run speed, and Xavier might be trying to save a little bit more for the longer run speed. That's kind of where we've seen Xavier struggle a bit, is when these laps wind down on these tires. You see Xavier just lose a bit more speed. You saw Jordan Hand be able to pass him at the end of those two green flag cycles and put himself in front of Xavier. So Xavier may be learning a little bit, trying to save so he can make a run for second place and not lose second place at the end here, which would be really smart out of this 5 machine. You know your weakness has kind of been those last about 5 to 6 laps. There's a lap car of, I think that's Joshua Nunez, had a bit of a moment right there underneath the 73 of Crosby off of 2. Kind of forced Xavier up the track a bit. I don't think he really hit that wall. It looked like it, but I don't think he actually hit it. But again, as I was saying, Xavier kind of losing that speed in those last 5 laps of a run. Maybe trying to save a little bit more tire this time by to maybe hop over to that second place position of Crosby, who looks to be pushing a little bit harder this run. These two running similar lap times compared to each other, as you haven't really seen that distance between these two close or grow at all. So with 17 coming to 16 laps to go, not much time left for Xavier or Crosby here. And knowing that unless we see a caution, that 4.5 seconds between them and Joseph Smith is probably going to be really difficult to close the gap on. So it's probably more than likely going to be a battle for the second position. Oh, Crosby right on board there. I think he might have hit the wall with his right rear again, which is actually really easy to do at a track like this. I've done it numerous times. You get close to that back straightaway and it kind of has a curve to it, and you think you're far away enough, and then next thing you know, your right side is on the wall and you're slowing down about 2, 3, 4 miles an hour, and you're like, what the heck is going on? And then you realize your right rear just barely got into that outside wall, and it really forces you to be mindful of that outside wall, and you want to be up close to that wall, but you also don't want to put yourself into that wall. And Crosby needing to keep himself out of putting himself in any real mistakes, because Xavier right behind him has a chance to pounce at any mistake that the 73 makes. And that's just part of it, is really forcing the drivers around you to make a mistake. You don't want to be the driver who makes a mistake. You want to force the other driver to make the mistake. Let them be the one who screws up and gives that position up. You don't want to burn yourself up trying to push too hard. You don't want to force yourself into the wall. You don't want to force yourself into maybe losing the rear end and getting sideways and losing a bunch of time. So be the one who forces these guys in front of you to make a mistake. And Jordan Hand right behind him has been making up a little bit of time. These past couple laps he's been a little bit quicker than the two in front of him of Crosby and Rugglebruggy. He has a shot to maybe possibly catch him with 11 laps to go. It's going to be close, but he does have those 4 lap fresher tires. So Jordan Hand trying to do all that he can with these last 11 laps, trying to put this gap further down so that he can maybe make a shot at a third place finish. Joseph Smith working around some lap traffic. That's a 27 of John Tiller on the outside. He's put a few cars a lap down here since this final green flag cycle of pit stops. Right in front of him, though, should be clear track. So once he gets around the 27, I don't think he'll really have to worry about anyone else in these last 9 laps. Joseph Smith giving this 27 car plenty of room. The last thing you want to do is have the 27 have something go wrong and then take yourself out of contention. And now it looks like Joseph Smith able to get around the 27. So John Tiller gonna go a lap down here in that 10th position. Smith has 8 laps to go until he sees the checkered flag and is able to go back to back. You don't want to see any cautions if you're in first place here. You've ran the best laps that you have pretty much all night, looking to capitalize on what has been a dominant run so far here at Chicagoland. Seven laps to go here for Joseph Smith. It's a 4-second lead over John Crosby. Xavier Rugglebruggy falling a little bit further back from the back bumper of Crosby. It's now about a second difference between second and third place. And we talked about Xavier maybe trying to save a little bit more for the longer runs because he's kind of struggled on these long runs, and right now not having that long run speed that he desperately probably needs or wants. Five laps to go this time by for Joseph Smith. Coming to 4 laps to go. 4-second lead. Clear track in front of you. Looking to start off this season with a bang and back-to-back wins. The gap still 4 seconds from Smith to Crosby. Xavier trying to close down on Crosby, but it doesn't look like he's been able to put down the lap times that he needs. Jordan Hand right behind him, running out of time to try and get back up to the top 3, but either way, Hand is going to have a great night for that 48 machine. If he's not able to get to third place, a fourth place would still be, I think, acceptable for that team. Xavier just trying to chase down Crosby, but just not having the speed that he's needed. Crosby doing a great job at trying to hunt down Smith, but unfortunately with Smith having a 4-second lead, it's pretty large to try and close down on. So Smith going down the back straightaway through turns 3 and 4. He's going to see the white flag this time by when he crosses the start-finish line. White flag is out one more time around for Joseph Smith here at Chicagoland Speedway. Crosby closing down a little bit, but also I think Smith knows that he has a large lead and he doesn't need to push it too much. He's going to work through turns 3 and 4 for the final time. And he's going to catch the win here at Chicagoland Speedway. And I just apologize right there. I don't know what I put up there. But Joseph Smith coming home with the race lead and taking the race win home. Joseph Smith winning at Chicagoland after a dominant race. He's going to come around and be able to celebrate it and burn it down here. And I apologize once again. I don't know how I accidentally hit that button to pop that up, so apologies there. Another win for Joseph Smith early in the season. Back-to-back wins, backing it up from Texas Motor Speedway, celebrating with his teammates. You see Xavier come into picture right there. He's going to try and burn it down with his teammate. Give a little bit of a love tap right there on the back bumper. That 47 of Evan Stewart coming up as well. Or let these teammates come around and work themselves back to the start finish line as they are continuing to celebrate together. Let's go ahead and get our race winner of Joseph Smith in here. Joseph, congrats on the race win again. Able to go back-to-back here at Chicagoland from last week at Texas. Celebrating there with your teammates. Looks like you're having a bit of fun. Able to put on a heck of a show, though. Well, you know, I'll be real honest. There was a lot of progressive cars out there on track tonight, and each one of you looked to be showing a strong, at least having a strong race out there tonight, and you were able to top all the other progressive cars, your teammates out there. What a strong race! What a strong just showing here from this 31 team. I mean, I don't really know if there was any flaws from tonight's race, but you sure did put on a heck of a show.
Yeah. Oh, that was great. Yeah, tonight it was great. You know, all of us as a team, we came in confident again. You know, like I said last week, Chicagoland is one of our favorite tracks to run. It's a fun track. You usually move around a lot. And if you see on the broadcast that the bottom line is literally black. So not as much moving around as I thought, but definitely at the end, everyone migrated to the middle and the top. Yeah, I didn't have much of a strategy today. I was just kind of figure it out. I had practiced throughout the week on the tire wear, but I did not realize that it would be fuel mileage. So, yeah, at some point we started clutching and turning the engine off and stuff. And I'm happy I was able to make it to the checkered because, you see, I ran out of gas after I did a burnout. So, yeah, I'm happy. It's a great start to the season as a driver and as a team. Yeah, just really confident. Great start to defend this title, and yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, and you mentioned one thing that I want to kind of go back and talk about quick. We kind of thought that tonight was going to be a little bit of more of a multi-groove type of racetrack, and like you said, it really didn't get to be that way. We saw a few guys maybe kind of work up towards the wall, but didn't really carry as much momentum as expected. But you know, like you said, the big thing for tonight with strategy was that fuel and really trying to cut it to really every last drop. And I know from inside the race car that can be really difficult to do. I know from my experience, I absolutely hate trying to fuel safe. I don't know what your opinion is on that. I don't like looking down at the numbers and then trying to do math in my head. But with such close windows, I mean, it also allows you to maybe have a little bit of an advantage over the field if you are able to get out front like you were and put about, I think it was on average about a 2.5, 3 second gap to second place and really not have to worry about too much. But like you said, as you move on to defend this title, I mean, what exactly did your season look like from your perspective before entering it? Did you think you'd go back to back this early in the season?
No, not at all. I'm still happy that I was even able to win Texas. Last season it took me till Darlington. I was like about halfway into the season to even get my first one. So I'm really happy and grateful to get back to back this early. I'm already have the same amount of wins as I did last season, so a lot better. But yeah, that fuel saving, like you said, it's stressful. It's not fun looking down at the number and trying to calculate, when the stage was gonna count and the end. I was stressing out. I was like, oh, I only have like 0.6 left. And it would get me across the finish, but it's still just not a good feeling that you're not like a lap or two clear. You still have to kind of think about it. And when you clutch the car in on entry, it drives a lot different when you clutch it in to try and save gas. So it's also kind of uncomfortable to drive. So yeah, fuel saving's not fun, but I'm happy I was able to come out on top this time. I'm usually not good with the fuel saving stuff, so already lots of improvements from last season.
Well, I can't wait to look forward to you going on through the season, and hopefully we can see you again try and defend this championship. I mean, so far starting it off with a bang and looking to put a outstanding season together. We'll see how this season goes. And before I let you go, is there any sponsors you'd like to thank or any shout-outs you'd like to give?
I'd like to shout out all my teammates: Rego Bruggy, Burbage, Nunez, Evan Stewart too. This is his first start here. He just wanted to learn the Xfinity car and or the O'Reilly car, and it was fun racing out here with him. I raced with him in another league, so it was great seeing him out here. Shout out to Fish Speed, my friends and family who watch all my races. Just the usual, and yeah, that's about it. I'm tired. That was a long race. It felt like a long race.
I mean, at a track like this, it definitely is a long race from start to finish, especially not having any cautions. But, congrats on your win once again. Go celebrate and go get some rest.
Thank you. Have a good night.
That was race winner Joseph Smith, able to take home the victory once again here at Chicagoland Speedway. Let's go ahead and pull up our second place. Actually, sorry, he's not in here. Let's go ahead and pull up third place finisher Xavier Rugglebruggy. Xavier, strong running all night. You're really top three pretty much, actually, I think, for every lap. Just, with the way that this race played out, a little bit hard to kind of keep up with Joseph Smith. I mean, really, what do you think the difference was out there tonight between maybe staying to his back bumper than with the fuel strategy and just tires in general and all that played into it? What do you think the biggest difference was out there?
Oh man. Well, strategy did have a big part. I know there were a couple guys on a little bit of an alt strategy. what was it? Sorry, I'm reading general right now. I know Jordan was on a different strategy, not by much, maybe like a lap or two, but you know, it was enough to start catching us towards the end. Connolly was on a crazy different strategy. I mean, he was pitting like maybe like after everyone was done pitting, he would pit. And I thought, oh my god, I'm sorry. Hold on, general.
You're good.
Yeah, sorry, I'm like multitasking right now. Yeah, little bit of an incident at the start of the race with Stange. He's not too happy with me right now. But I mean, it was just racing. I'm not really too mad about it. It was just a little bit of contact and whatnot. So yeah, Joseph. I mean, he's just lights out in a way. With everything. Oh my god, this guy needs to look at the replay. Yeah, Joseph was lights out. All race, just like Texas, pretty much. So yeah, I mean, pretty good race for CHR again. Most of us brought it home in the top 5. So yeah, good points day again.
And you know, like you said, Joseph just been on rails these past 2 races. You've been right there behind him, though. Definitely looking to carry some momentum into next week with these finishes and how these races have been going. And I don't want to take you away from trying to figure stuff out with Stange because I know how things can be. That, you know, things can get a little heated after the race, and at the end of the day, you know, each driver is going to have their own difference in opinion. But really, I mean, we talk about it all the time with these races, and drivers have the memories that last forever, and surprisingly to have that happen so early in the race, I mean, it's kind of crazy to actually you know, remember it after the checkered flag has finished. But I won't keep you too long, and I'll let you go sort that out. Before I let you go, though, is there any sponsors you'd like to thank or any shout-outs you'd like to give?
Oh, well, as always, shout out to all my teammates that are out there tonight. Congratulations to Joseph for winning another race, man. He's been on a roll recently, not only in this league, but in our other league. He has just been on a tear recently with winning. Of course, yeah, shout out to CHR and all them guys. Shout out to Fish Speed. Shout out to all my family. Shout out to my grandma, who I know is still in the chat. And, yeah, let's just try and hold out.
Alrighty, Xavier. Well, I hope to be able to speak with you again next week, and go have a heck of a night. I wish you the best with your little thing there going on, and we'll see you next week.
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, that was Xavier Rugglebuggy right there, able to come home in that 3rd position. Don't have Crosby here to interview, but that is all right. Again, I just want to apologize, guys, for the promo coming up. I'm not quite sure how I was able to do that. I run a dual PC setup, and my other PC that's actually streaming the race, having everything go on from this PC to the other one, is pretty far away. So I don't know if if I had something that was leaning against it or what, but I apologize for that, and I will make sure that we get that sorted out for next weekend, and that whatever it may be causing that to go off isn't gonna come back up again. I will say, though, the only really thing that we missed was Xavier and Crosby being in a close distance to one another. Otherwise, the rest of the guys were really kind of sorted out to about a second, half a second, if not more. So the field was pretty tame, pretty calm there in those last, I think I went back and saw that it was about 13 laps. But again, I want to apologize for that, and I'll get that fixed for you guys so that we don't have to see that promo ad pop up 1,000 times or stay up on screen. Let's go ahead, though, and before we go to anything else, let's go ahead and take a look at our race results here. Joseph Smith able to take home the race win. John Crosby finishing 2nd. Xavier Regelbrugge taking home that 3rd position. Jordan Hand, a strong night there in 4th. Dylan Carrier able to come out with a top 5. also having another really good night. Landon Burbidge just finishing out the top 5 in that 6th position. Evan Stewart going to be 7th, Wyatt McKilson in 8th, Orion Haller in 9th, and then John Tiller in 10th. William Connolly will be our first driver outside the top 10 in 11th. Then we go to Kenneth Lowry, Christopher Stange, Joshua Nunez, Michael Badra, and then Vincent Provenonza in 16th. And then Dallas Stewart, who had an early exit to tonight's race, 115 laps down, finishing in that final in 17th position. And tenth is still going on here between Xavier and John Tiller, who is not too pleased with the 5-car, or sorry, Stange, excuse me. Stange and Xavier not too happy with each other, having some comments back and forth with each other. But, you know, like I said, these drivers will remember things for days, weeks, months, even after that it has happened. And I'm sure once these two have kind of cooled down, I mean, it happens at a lot of these races. You get to close racing, and you're not really able to talk about it till after the race, majority of the time. And right now, they're really just discussing it for the most part. But hopefully, these drivers can get it talked out to. Maybe, you know, have a one-on-one conversation with each other and just put things aside. Still early in the season, and you don't really want to put yourself in a heated rivalry this early in the season. It's obviously always makes for good storylines when you're able to have a rivalry, but you definitely don't want it to probably have happened this early in the season, as we are only 3 races in. And I won't continue to put up what we're going to next week, as we clearly saw it for about 14, 15 laps there. But Rockingham next week, same place, same time. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here from the Chicagoland Speedway with the Redemption iRacing Series. Once again, thank you all for tuning in to Turn Sector Media, and hopefully we can see you guys back next week.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Got a great car, great team. Go execute. Our time. We know what we got to do. Stay in the fight between the walls.
Time to turn the intensity up.
Fight till the end, no matter what happens. Good day to be in victory lane.
Green flag is in the air. Driving with conviction.
Side by side, hammer down.
The after checks are lit. Count out anybody who wants it the most.
We are eyes on the leader now.
He is driving